have a suggestion. At the end, just take the sheet, and if they want an appointment, we'll call them tomorrow morning. And on your sheet, if you want an appointment and you haven't made one yet, tell us a couple of times that you have available. You know, the time of day.
I'll just
times
look
on
at
there.
it.
Melissa will put you on her calendar and call you to confirm the time tomorrow. That way, we're not bottlenecked at the end, okay?
Okay.
Where do you meet?
And we're gonna put
Oh,
that
we'll
down
get our office.
somewhere.
Where we're gonna be. Our office is in North Fayetteville on Joy Street.
No.
Joy Street.
Joy or Joy?
Joyce. Joyce.
That's where mine is.
Joyce.
There you go.
Close to,
And our number
closer to
is
265.
595-0305.
So we're actually east of
Just in case.
Missouri.
Alrighty.
All right, so in this
I'll send you a
situation,
text.
the spousal benefit is half of the primary insurance amount of the higher earning or primary worker if the lower earning spouse waits to full retirement. We said that earlier, right? That's a mouthful. It's kind of hard to track when we say it. And so the example is John, who's the higher earning spouse, his PIA, that's his Social Security retirement benefit at his full retirement age, is $2,000. James is $800. And so that's her PIA based on her work record. You might notice it's less than half of his. So if she waits to her full retirement age, she's going to get what's called a $200 spousal add-on to get her benefit up to half of the $2,000. So her benefit then will be $1,000.
And this would be for her rest of her life?
Rest of her life.
Okay.
Unless he dies first. If he dies first, her benefit goes away. And she gets his benefit. She'll get his $2,000 benefit.
So if hers is over 50%, that doesn't apply.
Right, she'll get her actual benefit if it's more than 50%.
Okay, and that, if he works till 70, and then he dies, she'll kick in even if she's past 70, right? To his premium,
Yeah.
to his insurance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if both people have about the same benefit and one dies?
Then whichever one's higher is the one that's the surviving spouse.
Well, I mean, they're the same. So,
If they're exactly the same, the surviving spouse will continue with his or her benefit.
so you don't get any benefit of the other person.
There's a death benefit, it's $200.
That's a joke.
That's a joke. Because at what point, she really wanted to go ahead and start drawing benefits.
Say again?
At what point, she really
Generally, the strategy for the lower earning spouse is really at full retirement age to file for benefit. And then the higher earning spouse, most folks want to wait till age 70. You want to wait till age 70. So that's normally a good strategy. I thought I might have had my clicker. That could be the problem. All right, so as we mentioned, the rules for spousal benefits, the primary worker will have had to file for benefits. The spouse must be at least 62 for a reduced benefit or full retirement age for the full benefit. There are no delayed credits on spousal benefits. Remember we mentioned that earlier. So, So a maximization strategy is if the lower earning spouse's primary insurance is more than 50%, both spouses could delay till 70. So what I just said, where the lower earning spouse files before retirement age, that would be if his or her benefit was less than 50%. I'm just telling you what the numbers in the map would generally point us toward. If the lower earning spouse is more than 50, generally the math is going to tell us both spouses can wait till 70 to get the most benefit. So we'll do a maximization analysis, and this is one of the things we're going to give you if you come into the office. There's no charge for this, and it's a Social Security report. It's a Social Security timing report that shows you your different filing options. And if you want to engage with us with more of our areas, and really, if you want everything, we'll help you with all 5 of these areas. But we're also willing to help you with any one or more of the areas that you want advice with. But if you want a full income plan, we use another set of software. So then we're coordinating your other sources of income with your Social Security filing decision to really determine the optimal income plan moving forward. Which accounts does it make sense to draw from first? What do you think? And so the sequence of distribution of accounts is a big thing. That's going to really affect taxes for the long term, for the rest of your life. So we want to look at sequence of distribution. Are we bridging the gap? Most people equate the day they start their Social Security with their retirement date. So they say, okay, I'll start my Social. But as you're learning tonight, that may not be the best strategy. So if we're not filing and we're not receiving that Social Security income on our retirement date, how are we going to bridge the gap between our retirement date and the date we start our Social Security? So that's one of the things we do. We show you which accounts make sense to draw from first. You need to use other sources of income. So so the goal is to stretch dollars the longest and to pay the minimum taxes. And by the way, paying the minimum taxes usually is a very good way to stretch dollars for longer. The number one concern of families when they come in to the office is outliving their money. The number one concern. So making sure you got enough to last throughout your retirement years is a very prominent goal of income planning. Okay? So I'm already widowed or divorced. How does that impact my claiming strategy? So you may be eligible for widow benefits or divorcee benefits. Okay? That could increase your monthly check. So survivor benefits first. The age at which the deceased spouse originally claimed his or her benefit. If deceased claimed before full retirement age, the survivor benefit will be limited to the higher of the deceased spouse's benefit, or 82.5% of his full retirement age benefit. If he claimed after full retirement age, the benefit's going to include any delayed credits. My mother-in-law called me one day. She said, Bill just died in an auto accident. He was going to work on his Harley. This is my mother-in-law. My father-in-law, she had been divorced from him over 20 years. And he was living in Florida. And on his way to work at Disney World, on his Harley, he just got it that year. And he was basically run over. It was a rainy day, and he just got run over. The autopsy indicated he would have died in about 20 different manners, different ways. So he didn't really stand a chance that day. But he had remarried. And so my mother-in-law said, I need to know if I am eligible for a benefit, and I don't really like her. And really, I don't even know her, but I don't like the thought of her. And how can I find out without her finding out? And will it affect her if I want to try to increase my benefit? And the answer is no. So as long as the marriage lasted for 10 years or longer, multiple spouses can claim the full survivor benefit. The full survivor benefit. Okay? So please don't take notes. This isn't a strategy.
What if he was murdered?
No notes on this one. What now?
What if they were murdered?
What if it was murdered? Depends on who murdered him. But
Just kidding.
so what she did, what she had to prove, what she had to provide was a marriage certificate, a divorce decree, and the death certificate, which she was able to get from the funeral home. And she took that down, and then her benefit went up by $1,000 a month. Because he had been earning delayed credits on his benefit. His widow, who he had also been married to for over 20 years, also got his full benefit. And she had been delaying her benefit.
So his benefit wasn't divided between the two?
No. They both got his full benefit, including the delayed credits he had earned to that point.
Wow.
Okay?
It didn't matter if the ex-wife was married or not.
It did matter. That does matter.
Okay.
If my mother-in-law had remarried, which she had not, then she wouldn't have been eligible for that.
Okay, if you remarried, then you're not eligible for that.
But she could have divorced the new husband. We call it ex-husband jurisdictional shopping. But, again, not really a strategy. All right, so the age at which the widow claims a survivor benefit is the benefit's going to depend on that. If the survivor claims before full retirement age, the survivor benefit is a fraction of their original benefit, 71.5% of PIA if claimed at 60. That's the earliest someone could claim a survivor benefit at 60, and it's not a further reduction past the early reduction, age 62. Unless that person is disabled, then that person can file as early as age 50. If the survivor claims at full retirement age or later, the benefit's 100% of the original benefit. So, one thing we said earlier, to kind of backtrack, there's a spousal reduction if the lower earning spouse files for full retirement age for a spousal benefit. That the percent reduction is actually more than the percent reduction based on your own work record. So remember we said from 62 to full retirement age, your benefit goes up about 6% a year, or really it's reduced 6% a year if you file before full retirement age. And then from full retirement age to 70, it's an 8% delayed credit. The spousal benefit is a bigger reduction. So the highest reduction for those whose full retirement age is 67. If you file for spousal benefit at 62, it's 35%. That's the biggest reduction. So your benefit, the spousal benefit, will be 65% of what it would be. So example, Joe and Julie are married. Joe's PIA is $2,800. He delays claiming to 70, and so his benefits 124%, 8% times 3 years. So the benefit would be $3,472, and then he dies. Julie's survivor benefit is $3,472. It's not $2,800. Okay, so she gets the full amount, including any delayed credits that he had earned. So the couple, for a survivor benefit, had to be married at least 9 months at the date of death. The survivor must be at least 60 for reduced benefits. And so this is if you're currently married to that person. Okay? Survivor benefit not available if widow or remarried before age 60 or 50 if disabled, unless the marriage ends, as we said earlier. And divorced spouse survivor benefits are available if the marriage lasted 10 years. So divorced spouse has to be 10 years, 9 months if it's your current spouse. So divorced spouse benefits are same as the spousal benefits if the marriage lasted 10 years. So the person doesn't have to die. If the marriage lasted 10 years, you can get a benefit on your ex-spouse. You can't be married, so you have to be unmarried. The ex-spouse has to be at least 62. And if the divorce was more than 2 years ago, the ex-spouse need not have filed. If the marriage ended less than 2 years ago, the ex-spouse would have already have to have filed for you to file for divorce spouse benefit. So less than 2 years, they have to have filed. Over 2 years, they don't have to have filed. And again, more than one ex-spouse can receive benefits on the same worker's record, just like for a surviving spouses. So benefits paid to one ex-spouse do not affect those paid to the worker, the current spouse, or other ex-spouses. Divorce spouse benefits stop upon remarriage or spouse collecting benefits. Okay. What did that say? You just skipped it so fast. Gee, this really is more complicated than I realized. What's that?
Problem.
So we talked about the problem. And so this is more of a recap. People are hurting their benefits, wrong filing strategies. Social Security, the key insights we've learned, Social Security has inflation protection, income that you can't outlive, including benefits for survivors and divorced spouses. Your benefit can be reduced if you claim early. Couples should look at the combination of benefits in order to maximize benefits. If you're widowed or divorced, you may be eligible for additions to your check from your ex-spouse or deceased spouse. So everyone needs to do this Social Security analysis. We'll provide it for you with a one-on-one session as we mentioned before. And then you can see how it fits into your overall income plan. Coordinate your Social Security filing decision with your other sources of income in order to stretch your dollars the longest, in order to minimize taxes throughout your lifetime. So we coach a lot of local CPAs. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney, but I've been doing this over 30 years. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of families. And so a lot of times the CPA, what their job is, and I'm surprised a lot of times when I'll call a CPA that works with a lot of my clients or that I like and trust, or a friend of mine, and I'll ask them a tax question. 90% of the time they have no idea what the answer is. Because what does a CPA do in most cases? Anyone a CPA, by the way?
Taxes.
Before I step all over your toes?
I'm not a CPA, but I do taxes for people, so I have questions.
Yeah. So what I found is, and I'm talking about somebody 40-year CPA, tax preparer, and an attorney that I'm thinking of. I'm always the one that has the answers. He never knows the answers. And what he does is fill in the fields on the tax return. He fills in the blanks. And his goal is to minimize taxes when? This year. This year's or last year, if you're filing this year for last year's return. So my goal as a financial professional is to minimize your taxes for the rest of your life. It might mean paying more taxes this year. And in the case of Roth conversion, it will mean paying more taxes this year. But the goal is to get it behind us forever and to grow an account if it's converted completely tax-free for later. Our life is more secure, our incomes are more secure if I'm growing a tax-free account that I can distribute tax-free later when taxes are supposed to go probably will go up. So that's some of the conversations I have with a lot of the local CPAs. I get what you're trying to do. You're doing a good job. You're trying to keep taxes down. But let me show you this. And I'll show him I have your estimated tax return for the rest of your life modeled on my software. Okay, so Social Security personnel they can estimate your benefits and they can tell you the amount you're entitled to now. They cannot project future benefits through scenario planning or help with other innovative strategies designed to maximize benefits and coordinate other income sources. So we can help with your questions. When should I apply? What if I want to keep working? What if I've already applied? We've had a lot of those questions already asked tonight. How much will my benefit be? What's the best long-term strategy for our situation? Okay, and what's next? What steps do I take next? So the offer is a complimentary 1-hour meeting, and we'll review all the scenarios for claiming, and we'll complete an evaluation. If you'll complete your evaluation meeting request, Melissa will call you in the morning. She can get you on the calendar tonight, but instead of waiting around in a line, you can just let her know you want to meet. Turn in your blue sheets, and we'll be happy to answer whatever questions you have. And I'll stick around and answer any final questions that you have. And I thank you guys a lot for your participation. Thanks for coming tonight.
I have a question before we quit here. I have a lot of football that you guys for
You can just wait on there. One last question. We live on like 10 minutes.
You have a lot of students that come in.
Is there any way that I can do that instead?
Yes, here's where this we put you down.
No, not every.
Okay.
There's a whole lot of young people who've been
Kind of bad. Certain things maybe I'll be in there.